Hey guys, it's the Ramos Online here, and I'm joined with CullinationMedia's Joe.
What's going on, guys?
And we're basically just here to discuss the new megas that were announced and leaked, and what our thoughts are, and as well as the thoughts, like what tier we think it might be put in, that sort of thing, and hopefully spark some sort of discussion in the comment section.
Yes, and we've got 5 to discuss, right? You got Salamence, Slowbro, Altaria, Lopunny, and Audino.
There's a lot.
So yeah, we got a lot on our plates here.
The question is, who do we start with? I kind of wanted to start with Salamence because I think we all know what tier that one's going to be thrown into.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that it's even going to be able to stay in OU for very long. I really think it's going to go straight to Ubers. I really do.
I mean, we already know it's getting a boost to its defenses, and its physical attack is already pretty high. With Moxie...
It doesn't need a boost at all, really.
With Aerialate as well, it's already high attacking stats. I mean, it's silly.
Yeah, I mean, and then you think about the moves that it has access to that work with Aerialate. You got Double Edge, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous. You've got Return, Body Slam. I mean, and then you add that to the amount of recovery that Salamence has with Roost and Wish. It's ridiculous.
I can see the common set shortly before it gets cast into Ubers being Dragon Dance, a Return, Outrage, and Roost.
It's
Moxie.
just too much to handle. It's too much.
It's just gonna wreck. It's unfortunate that they're making megas that are so powerful that they're probably gonna get, removed from the smogon metagame and overused in VGC. I can see this being basically a Kangaskhan replacement. I mean, Salamence is already used a lot in double VGCs.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's a doubles VGC, but whatever. And, it's already getting used a lot there. Now it's going to get used more, I think.
Yeah, there's no way that Salamence is staying in the OU metagame as far as Smogon is concerned. I don't see it staying. And even Metagross, which may have a better case to have that stay in OU, maybe. But Salamence, I think you got no shot. No shot of staying in OU whatsoever.
Should we talk about Metagross as well, actually? Because it was the other pseudo-legendary in Gen 3. Because now both pseudo-legendaries in Gen 3 are getting megas.
That's true. I mean, I don't even really know a whole lot about what they announced for Metagross other than the fact that it's getting Tough Claws.
It's getting Tough Claws, and I think it was getting a generic boost to pretty much all its stats, attacking, defensive, and speed. But I think it was getting a hefty... let me double check, but I know it was like something like that.
I mean, it doesn't even really need a boost to speed either because it has access to stab priority already in Bullet Punch. And that gets the Tough Claw boost.
Yeah, it says here that Mega Metagross has a greatly increased speed stat as well, and that's going to be pretty scary to deal with.
Especially because Metagross's only issue was the fact that it has lower speed. That's the only reason it's UU this generation.
So I think Metagross might be OU once... base Metagross, just because there's the option of it going Mega.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. Do the Pokemon normally go to the same tier as their Mega? Because Gardevoir was like RU or UU until its Mega was introduced, and then it went OU. But both it and its Mega's OU. I don't quite know.
Yeah, actually, Gardevoir was NU last generation.
Oh, it's
and
NU.
Now it went all the way up to OU just because of its Mega Evolution. So I'm guessing both Metagross and Mega Metagross are going to be OU, depending on how drastic that increase in speed is, in which case we may see a Mega Metagross banned to Ubers.
Base speed 150.
Oh, God. No, thank you.
I suppose going one step down, talking about sort of the things I'd expect to see in OU, Mega Altaria. What's your thoughts on
Now that's something interesting. It's got Pixelate, right?
Yeah, Hyper Voice is something it learns naturally. I think it's an egg move, I think.
Yes it is.
So there is our VGC legal Hyper Voice Pokemon.
I mean, and it's also getting boost to its physical attacking stat and its defense, so it doesn't even really need to run Cotton Guard anymore. Not that they all run Cotton Guard, but a lot of people run it to patch up its lower physical defense stat. So you can get rid of Cotton Guard and put things like, if you're going to go for a physical set, you could use Return, which would be scary. because Altaria does get access to Dragon Dance.
I can sort of see people running. I know it's going to sound maybe a bit crazy because I'm not good when it comes to just on the spot, set building. But I can see people running a max HP, max speed mixed set because it's naturally bulky, so the HP will help survivability. Pixelate boosting things like Return and Hyper Voice will make it so powerful it doesn't really need the investment in its offensive stats, and the speed will help it outspeed slower things, like speed does.
Yep, I mean, and it's got Roost too, so I can see it being I don't even know what it would be described as. It's not really just a wall breaker because usually you see wall breakers with choice items. This is going to have the ability to change moves and recover and then potentially boost up depending on if it's mixed or if it's physical or whatever it may be. It's just got a lot of options.
Fluffy Death, I think it has to be called.
Fluffy Death, yes.
The only other thing that can also be called Fluffy Death is Fur Throw.
True.
That's my own personal reasons. But so
Fur
yeah,
is scary.
I can definitely see it staying, or at least going up to OU. But I'm a little bit worried, just because of the way suspect tests have been going on recently, that it might go Ubers because of the whole which way is it going to be run. Because I think that was one of the reasons why the Aegislash suspect test happened, was because you could run it like 3 different ways quite viably, and all 3 you had to have a different Pokemon to counter each 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, and actually I would argue that there's even more than 3 ways to run Aegislash. You've got physical, you've got fully special, you've got mixed, and then there was a defensive like stall set that was going around too for a while. And I mean, I can see Altaria running very similar things. You've got, because you have the recovery and it's getting a boost to its defense, plus its natural good special bulk, you can have some kind of stalling set going on. I can see it being a staple on stall teams, actually, kind of similar to how Mega Aggron is this gen in UU, except Mega Aggron doesn't get any kind of recovery, so it's going to be like on steroids.
It gets rest, but I guess rest talk Aggron isn't incredibly viable.
No, because Steel is not the best coverage, because there aren't just a crap ton of fairies running around in UU, so it doesn't do it that much justice.
And I suppose that would, the other Pokemon I'm expecting to be OU, or maybe UU, is Mega Lopunny. So what's your thoughts on the Fluffy Bunny Mega?
Well, it's getting a boost to its attack and speed, and it gains the Scrappy ability, so it's going to be one of the few Pokemon that can actually put that to good use. You've got Kangaskhan already. Exploud does it pretty darn well, and then Swellow actually gets access to it via its Dreamworld ability too, but you don't see it used very often because Guts is usually the preferred ability there. So
Miltank is another good one.
Miltank, yes, that's right.
You probably already know all about this.
You don't see Miltank too much in higher tiers.
You probably already know all about this set I'm going to mention, but minimizing Drifblim.
Oh my goodness.
Miltank destroys it because it gets Stomp, or it gets Body Slam and Scrappy.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, you're going to use that set? Cow.
Yeah, I'm not even going to really comment on that because I'm going to start with the obscenities, and we're going to try to keep this family friendly, so moving on.
I probably should have mentioned it myself, actually.
No, it's all good fun.
Mega Miltank. That would be awesome.
Mega Miltank, yes. I don't even want to... What would that look like? Weird.
The immature part of me wants to say it's just a giant udder.
That's scary. And creepy. Very creepy. Disturbing, actually.
But with Mega Lopunny, I really think it's going to take Lopunny to UU, which I'm actually disappointed in because I love it in NU.
Yeah, I mean, you got the fake out shenanigans, switcheroo, those kinds of things, which are kind of going to go out the window for just a basic attacking set, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I would really like to see it get high jump kick because it has access to just jump kick, but not high jump kick.
Well, it's already been announced that Lopunny gets access to high jump kick in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
They already announced that. Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, they announced it, and along with announcing that, they also showed that in the trailer it used high jump kick. And Shiftry gets Leaf Blade, which it doesn't normally get. So that is just screaming.
It's about time.
you're gonna love Shiftry after in ORAS. It gets Leaf Blade. Yay!
Finally.
And that just pretty much confirms the move tutors, because why would you give 2 Pokemon a brand new move in a generation that is still going. It doesn't make much sense. So because of that, we might see Drain Punch come back to Lopunny, which was sort of missed out on this gen.
Unfortunately.
I actually want to run a Drain Punch Lopunny myself, and getting the Fighting Stab on that, and the ability to not be walled by ghosts.
Exactly. And because of the fighting typing, you're really not going to see things like Rock and Steel types giving Lopunny much issues either.
I don't want to say it's going to be OU, because I feel there's better options out there. But it can't not be UU.
Well, the other thing, though, is that it's going to be a brand new game. I think it will be OU for a little while just because it's based off usage. I think eventually people, as you said, might realize that there are better options. But I think that maybe for the first couple of months after the game is released that we'll see it in OU for a while. So that'll be interesting to see how it matches up against the likes of Mega Salamence before it gets banned, possibly Altaria.
The Bunny Eater.
The Bunny Eater. Yes.
But
then there's also Slowbro, too. We haven't talked about that yet.
Well, I was actually just about to mention the next Pokemon we can talk about is Beyblade.
A Beyblade.
Look at it. It's a Beyblade.
I don't know what it is.
I think it's because Hitmontop doesn't spin around anymore unless he's attacking. Because normally he was always on his top. So Game Freak was like, we need something else that's always spinning.
I guess they were kind of going through withdrawals there because Hitmontop gained some dance moves this generation.
He's got moves like Jagger.
Better than Jagger, actually, but okay.
Unlike poor Slowbro, who's now been completely consumed by the shell.
Yeah, I don't know that I like the design a whole lot, but also the fact that it's getting rid of Regenerator for shell armor, that is interesting in itself.
I'm actually okay. I mean, I don't like his design. I think almost everyone universally dislikes the design right now, at least. But I'm okay with shell armor because it won't have to fear knockoff, critical hits won't scare it, and it does get access to Calm Mind, which means it can, quite quickly become a mixed wall that has an increased special attack stat. I think...
Right, and I think it's getting a natural boost to its special attack and defense stats as well. So
it is, which is going to make it interesting, to say the least. It actually shares its awkward ability in common with poor Mega Audino as well, which was also leaked, which loses Regenerator again in exchange for Healer.
Well, that could be a big deal for doubles teams. That could become a VGC thing. I'm not sure.
I'm saying it now. You know how a lot of people in VGC teams might bring 2 Megas, and they'll bring the Mega that will suit the battle the most?
Right, it's a situational thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely probably going to do that with Audino, because my main VGC team is a Trick Room team. Audino gets Trick Room, and if my Mega Mawile can't come in a battle because there's fire everywhere, I'll bring the Audino, and the Audino will be like this annoying support wall that is impossible to kill, and just helps the other Pokemon score kills. I think in doubles it's going to be amazing, but I think it might be the first NU Mega.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the Fairy typing is going to help it out a little bit at least. And then we do see the boost to defense and special defense. It could be enough to go to RU, just because it has access to Wish.
Good
and
point, yeah.
It's going to be like an Alomomola with a better typing and higher defenses, basically. It won't have access to any kind of held item, obviously, but I don't know. It depends on what the HP stat is.
What kind of steel and poison types are there in RU? Are there like a lot of them?
In RU? Not that I can think of. There are a lot of poison types in NU. Because you've got a lot of grass and poison and bug types that's like Beedrill, Vileplume, etc.
Because I'm just trying to think at the moment. Because the only real reason people run special Audino in NU is because anything that is physical normally carries a fighting type move anyway. But with the Fairy typing, it loses the fighting weakness. Which means mixed Audino might become a thing again, because I know mixed Audino was definitely a thing for a short while. I always used it, and I loved it.
Well, and because it's going to be a defensive Pokemon, the higher tiers, not that RU is a high tier, but because Ghost is such a great offensive typing, that immunity to Ghost with its normal typing is really going to come in handy. So that might be enough of a reason for people to use it in higher tiers, just for that alone.
Also, what's interesting is I didn't actually notice this until a viewer pointed it out, but Audino gets Draining Kiss as an egg move, and it will obviously get Stab on this when it Mega Evolves. So could we possibly see the advent of a offensive Audino?
Well, does it get Calm Mind?
I don't know. I don't think it does, but it's going to be so tanky, it will probably be able to take 2 or 3 hits and still dish a lot of damage out. I know my Audino has completely OHKO'd a Cryogonal with Takedown, and the Cryogonal was at full health, and it just one-shot it, and it's a completely defensive build, so it does have some offensiveness, I guess. Let me check.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting. I mean, I really don't even know what fairy types Audino or fairy type moves that Audino actually gets access to normally. Does it get Dazzling Gleam maybe? I'm pretty sure it doesn't get Moonblast.
It definitely gets Dazzling Gleam as the TM move. Let me just double check Audino.
So you got Draining
Kiss.
Kiss.
It gets Calm Mind.
Oh, it does get Calm Mind. So there you go. You can have some, like maybe a Bold Nature, HP investment, defense investment, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, maybe even Wish if you really wanted to, and then random coverage move.
The awesome thing about Draining Kiss is that it heals you for 75% of the damage dealt. So,
right.
You know, if you deal enough damage with it, it's... I can't even... my bear. I'm just tripping over my tongue now. But you know what I mean. Like, you deal damage and you're going to be healing back a lot more than you'd normally see with, like, Giga Drain.
Well, that comes at the price of only being, what, 50 base power, though?
It does. And, like, that 10 base PP, which is horrible, really.
I think that's the same as Giga Drain, though.
Oh, good point. But yeah, I mean, I could actually see Calm Mind Audino working in NU right now.
That might even get suspect tested because of how naturally bulky it is.
Oh, you mean Mega Audino?
That's ridiculous.
Could you imagine a physically defensive Mega Audino with Calm Mind?
Yep, that's what I was saying. I mean, and you have different options for that. Like, what are its coverage moves? I seriously have no idea what it...
Well, because it's a normal type, its coverage moves are pretty crazy. It gets things like Hyper Voice, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Charge Beam.
Does it get Ice Beam?
Ice Beam? It gets Ice Beam. It gets
Wow,
Ice Punch.
so we might see some viability in the higher tiers because of the dragons running around up there.
It has Drain Punch as well. Because why not? Fire Blast, Fire Punch, Grass... It basically has coverage for every single type, it looks like.
So, needless to say, a Calm Mind set is going to be kind of a big deal.
It probably will be. So you can just ignore the bad ability. I think it's going to make up for it. I mean, it's an additional 100 base stats, and the only thing they're telling us is it gets a boost to defense and special defense. So that must mean that those are the only... it doesn't must mean, but if those are the only 2 stats getting boosted, we're looking at Blissey... Eevio-like Chansey 2.0.
Oh my goodness.
At least it doesn't get minimized.
We started on Chansey.
At least it doesn't get minimized.
Thank the Hex Gods for that.
And then move tutors. Please don't give it minimize. Also, the Toxic Stalling set, which is commonly run on Audino. Can you imagine that on Mega Audino?
The bulk and the lack of common weaknesses is going to make that probably very viable. As much as I don't want it to be, I really feel like it's going to be.
I did not expect to talk this much about Audino. It's like the hidden gem among the pile of megas we just got.
It's got more possibilities than I originally thought when I first saw it.
That's scary. Very scary. I mean, the 2 that looks the scariest for me, obviously ignoring Salamence, has to be the Audino and the Lopunny, because they're both normal types originally, so they naturally have insane coverage. I mean, Lopunny gets
true.
all of the punch moves.
That's ridiculous coverage.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure Lopunny can either OHKO or come close to OHKOing Garchomp with Ice Punch, and it outspeeds. So with Mega, maybe it is going to be OU. Damn it.
It might be. It might be. Even some of the... I mean, immediately I thought of, Cofagrigus would be something good, but you got Scrappy. I mean, it's not going to be taking any normal or fighting type moves. High Jump Kick is still going to deal a crap load of damage. You basically would have to sacrifice whatever your Ghost type is or whatever your Willow user is just to try to burn it.
But I do feel this is going to add a lot of balance as well, because, I mean, things like Lopunny, I mean, there has never been a Pokemon like it. I'm tripping over my tongue again, but I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I feel as if Mega Lopunny is gonna bring a bit more balance to whatever tier it comes in. Or is it just gonna bring chaos? Because, I mean, a lot of common Ghost types are just wrecked by it because nothing can switch in safely.
No, nothing that I can really think of. Its coverage is just too good.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think it does.
No, you would basically have to sacrifice something and then have Prankster Willow. So Sableye, there you go.
Yeah, but then, I guess Sableye is the best bet. Even Mega Sableye might be a good idea, because it looks like it's going to be pretty bulky, and on the first turn it will have that Prankster, so Prankster Willow on the turn it Mega Evolves. Good work.
That's true. And the other thing that I'm noticing is looking at a lot of these, with the exception of Audino and Slowbro, all of these sets look like, or not all these sets, but all of these Pokemon, they look like wall
Sorry?
power. They're amazing coverage. They're fantastic abilities that usually either boost their attacks or give them a way to get around counters, such as the Scrappy. And that could really... It could go one of two ways in the Smogon metagame. We could just see all of them get banned because they, quote, threaten stall, or we could finally start to see more of a balance, the higher parts of the ladder. Because right now, doesn't matter what tier you go to, it's all stall once you get over like 13, 1400. All stall all the time because the wall breakers are getting banned left and right.
Yeah, I could go on a rant, so I shouldn't say too much about the wall breakers getting banned, but I don't see things like Mega Lopunny getting banned because I view them as being powerful but beaten by other things.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say Mega Lopunny is going to be BL. If I really had to make a prediction,
that would make sense, actually.
I would say BL.
But then I mean, you know a lot more about the Smogon meta than I do. I just kind of play in it, and I've kind of roughly know the rules. So if the Mega is in a higher tier, what happens to the base version of the Pokemon? Does it join it in that higher tier, or does it stay in a lower tier?
Well, so far, when you see things like Manectric, the base form without the Mega is still OU. Same thing for Gardevoir. And like I said, Gardevoir last gen was NU, Manectric last gen was NU, and the only reason they're in the higher tiers now is just because of the Mega Evolution. So, and Medicham too. Medicham is another one.
So is it really Gardevoir that's OU, or is it Mega Gardevoir? Because doesn't that, I mean, the way I'm thinking about it is if it's the Mega that's OU, then shouldn't the base form still be in the original tier? Because no one's going to bring that Gardevoir unless it's holding Gardevoir, right?
That's true, but I mean, it's unfortunate because I would love to use regular Mawile in NU again. I mean, that was amazing last gen to see Mawile down there, but again, the only reason it's OU is because of the Mega Evolution, and you can't bring it in the lower tiers, which stinks.
Because I was getting ready to reveal an awesome Sheer Force Mawile set, because with Sheer Force, it is, scary damage. It's kind of similar to Mega damage. Not exactly the same, but still kind of scary. So the fact that the base form gets yanked to the tier the Mega is in, that's disappointing. So, like an awesome NU Pokemon like Lopunny, which is very decent as an attacker, as well as a sort of a nuisance Pokemon, is going to get dragged into a tier where its base form can't function. The only reason it's there is because of the Mega. That's sad, really.
Exactly, and that kind of takes away some of the unpredictability of it because most of the time, if you see a Manectric on an OU team, or not most of the time, just about like 99% of the time, if you see a Manectric, you know it's Mega, unless you're up against me, of course, because I use Scarfed regular Manectric in OU because I'm just like that. But let's be real here, nobody else does that.
I mean, I might do that, but I haven't done it yet, so you're alone there for now.
For now, okay, I'll hold on to that for while I can.
I don't want to turn it into a rant video, so I shouldn't stay on the topic too long, but so they haven't decided to like just move the item itself into another tier, but keep the base Pokemon into a lower tier? Because, I mean, I don't want to see things like Audino and Lopunny, their base forms get dragged to a tier they can't function in.
Well, we've seen some examples of where just the Megastone gets moved, and we're talking about Gengar, Lucario, things of that nature.
That's
because they're in Ubers.
I was going to say, because Ubers technically isn't a tier, it's a ban list. So this item is banned. So if you do it in Ubers battle, it's 3 rules. So do whatever you want, bring the banned things you want. So I don't quite view that as being like the base Pokemon being in a tier different to its Mega. Because the item itself was banned, not the Pokemon.
Oh, exactly. Ubers is not meant to be a tier. It was always meant to be a ban list. But that's really the only scenario in which we see the item and the base Pokemon in different metas, so to speak.
Let's hope they put something in place that separates the Mega from the base. Because the Mega has to be viewed as its own Pokemon, I feel.
I would be all for that. I mean, the only reason that I would ever show support to a Mega Mawile ban, and not to drag the topic back there, but would be, now we open up the fact that we can use Mawile again as its base form in NU. How cool would that be?
Actually, yeah, so if Mawile gets banned, because base Mawile is NU, doesn't that mean Mawile would just drop like a rock back to NU? Because the only reason NU is now gone?
Exactly.
I guess I'm kind of for the ban now.
I kind of am too, because I don't really play OU. I mean, I don't agree with it from, an objective standpoint of looking at the meta and saying, does Mega Mawile really prove to be that unhealthy? No, from a meta standpoint, but from a selfish standpoint, I'm like, I don't care about OU. I play it once every 2-3 weeks maybe, so sure. Get rid of that and give me Mawile back in NU, please. And thank you.
So we've said a lot about, I suppose, the meta involving Megas and Audino and Lopunny. Was there anything else you wanted to say about the other 3 Megas?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we covered just about everything that I had notes on. I had a whole, scribble sheet here. We touched on all of it.
I did not have notes. I just kind of on the top of my head. I'm just trying to think if there is anything else, because Mega Altaria is definitely going to be one of those Pokemon that, again, I think Altaria is NU.
It is.
But then Altaria, when you think about its abilities, it's going to be perhaps maybe a counter to weather teams, because it comes in with Cloud9, removes weather, Mega evolves, and now just kind of screams or shows its love for its trainer by smacking the enemy and kills whatever was on the field.
Well, one thing that we didn't mention that I'm actually just thinking of now is most of the time Altaria in NU runs Natural Cure. So it's going to lose that. It won't be able to function as a status absorber, so we may see Heal Bell come into play as more of a viable move on it, because otherwise...
Heal Bell?
Yeah, it gets Heal Bell. You can see it get stalled out pretty darn easily if it's a defensive build. Toxic is going to be its worst enemy. So Heal Bell and Roost on the same set with Toxic, and then some kind of Fairy Attack, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Hyper Voice, something like
probably
that.
The one to go for, because it's boosted by Pixelate.
That's true, and it hits your subs.
And probably either Draco Meteor or Dragon Pulse Hyper Voice, and then 2 support moves. That's actually made me notice something. If you look at all the Megas introduced in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, ignoring the starters, the majority of the Megas seem to be support.
Well, you've got Slowbro. Altaria can function either way, I'm thinking, with the boost that it's going to get. Lopunny is going to be an attacking set, but Audino, yeah.
Audino, I mean, when you look at what they normally are, you have Sableye, Audino, what's it called? I forgot its name. Sableye, Audino, Sableye. Okay, maybe only 3, but the idea is still kind of there, because we didn't really see... do we see any support Megas in X and Y?
Well, Banette is usually a support user with Prankster.
So it's just Banette, really, out of the 30 Megas we got. So it's good to see that they're taking Pokemon that are normally viewed as either support or kind of mixed and making them Mega, because I suppose they're the ones that need Mega the most, because if something's already an offensive attacker, it doesn't really need the boost, because we already have items for that. And I'm just battling now.
Well, that's why Salamence and Metagross, their boosts just seem ridiculous. Like, they didn't need a buff to begin with, really. I mean, Metagross lost a little bit because of the Steel nerf this gen, and that's why it dropped down to UU, because it's kind of a bad typing now with Ghost running all over the place. But
I really think it should have got Levitate as its ability, not Tough Claws. It didn't need Tough Claws.
No, it really did not. But
it's hovering. It should get Levitate. It makes sense.
Meteor Mash and Bullet Punch and Zen Headbutt are all going to be very, very scary.
And Hammer Arm. Hammer Arm, I'm pretty sure Oko's Mega Kangaskhan. So there goes that. I don't think there's going to be anything that wants to switch in on a Tough Claws boosted stab hit. Even Walls will not like that.
Oh no. And then you factor in the fact that there's a healthy chance to get an attack raise with Meteor Mash too, and that's just...
And obviously, as you mentioned, the Bullet Punch, so it even has priority with Tough Claws. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and then you factor in the fact that it's got a boost in its natural speed stat, so it might not need to even run that much speed investment or any speed investment at all. So even if you manage to survive a hit, you are not going to take it out in one shot anyway. So...
I suppose the recording has gone on for about half an hour now, but there was one other Pokemon I wanted to discuss. You probably don't have any notes written on it, so if you have nothing to say, then just, say so, I guess. And that is Mega Diancie.
So it gets Magic Bounce, I believe.
Yep, and it's like meant to be the polar opposite of base Diancie, where it loses defenses, gains offenses, and a huge boost to its speed.
Okay, because it was base 50 speed before and then base 50 in its offenses and HP, I think.
It was 50 speed and HP, 100 attack and special attack, and 150 defense.
Okay.
So yeah, it was. That's why I kind of love Diancie. As silly as it can become very hard to stop because of its signature move Diamond Storm. But I find it very interesting how they've taken this clearly defensive Pokemon, and said when it Mega Evolves, it loses its defenses and becomes a fast attacker. It's basically the Mega Evolution changes it entirely. Just want to know what your thoughts were on that, really.
If anything, I think it's probably more viable as an attacker, and those switches in the stats are going to benefit, I think, because it doesn't get any that I know of. Unless I'm missing something here, I don't think it gets any reliable recovery outside of Rest, so you're basically forced to run a Rest talking set, or Resto Chesto, which really, let's be serious here, probably isn't the most viable thing in higher tiers on a Diancie.
Definitely not. I run the Rest Talk set, and it works well. It's gonna sound dirty, because it currently is OU, but when I bat with it, I consider it UU, because that's what it kind of fits in the best. And it works well against UU Pokemon, but in OU, an Earthquake normally one-shots it because of just, stab Earthquake with 50 base HP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've got Bullet Punches flying around all over the place in OU, too.
That one-shots it.
So,
And
I
with
mean,
low
unless it gets
defenses.
any kind of recovery, unless it gets wish or recover itself or something, then I see the offensive set being way more viable in higher tiers as opposed to the defensive build.
So do you think, what tier do you think its Mega will be in then?
Its Mega will probably be OU.
That's what
I
I
mean,
was
it's
thinking.
150 in both of its attacking stats. I mean, it doesn't have a good move pool by any means. Its move pool is actually kind of crap. We may see that improve a little bit. But even still, 150 in both attacking stats. It can run mixed. It can be a
That's what we
great
think
ball
it's going to be.
breaker.
Because it's 100 right
ridiculous.
now, so we're assuming it's going to be about 150 in the offensive stats and 125 in the defensive stats, which I suppose is still very high.
Yeah.
So yes, that's I guess the way we want to ask about the Diancie. So I guess that's the discussion.
Yeah, I think we rambled quite a bit, didn't we?
I love rambling because we just get everything off our chests and then it's
You know
like,
what? It needed to be done because
Yeah.
you've got, over the last couple of weeks, you've got all these update videos going on. You see, 2-minute video here, 2-minute video there, people just commenting on the design and, oh, it stinks, oh, it's great, can't wait for the game, blah, blah, blah. But nobody that I've really seen, I haven't seen anywhere where people were talking about it as far as how it was going to affect the competitive scene, move sets, strategies, things like that. So it's a nice, refreshing type of video as far as this topic is concerned.
Very. I can't wait for ORAS to get released so I can, as you just said, start coming up with awesome strategies for these new Pokemon. All we can do right now is make strategies based on hypothesis. But you know what? In the comment section below, you guys should get talking as well about all these different things, how you think these new Megas are going to impact the meta, both for Smogon and for VGC. And if you have any ideas on how you think the Pokemon should be run, then again, leave them down below. And you never know, they might end up being awesome sets, and you might be from the future.
Exactly. I mean, just what we've talked about is not the only way to look at this by any means. I'm sure there's things that we missed or that we haven't thought of yet, and that is part of the reason why we did this together, so that we could bounce ideas off each other, get different perspectives on things, and just the two of us, we couldn't possibly come up with everything on our own. So that's what you guys are for.
That's why I love doing like videos like this. We can bounce ideas off each other, start up a conversation, so that the people in the comment section can continue the conversation. It's always fun.
Exactly.
So anyway, I thank all you guys for checking it out. I'll obviously leave a link in my description to Joe's channel, and if he puts it on his channel, then maybe he'll leave a link to mine, and we can be link buddies.
Not maybe. Of course I will. Duh.
Yay! If you're on my channel, be sure to check him out. He is an awesome guy who does amazing battle videos. I want to get into rated battles, but I'm not quite there yet, and Joe is already doing it. So if you came to my channel looking for that stuff and didn't find it, go to his channel. He has it.
There you go. And I want to say likewise about Mr. Ramos here. He's an amazing guy. So if you are watching this on my channel, make sure you go check him out. I've shouted him out a bunch of times because he bred like half the competitive Pokemon that I have. Okay, not really, but close. Okay, not close, but some. There are some. I try to remember to say it anytime I use one of your Pokemon. But I usually find you in the comment section below. You talk about how you like seeing whatever set it may be. But yeah, definitely go check him out. He is obviously a great friend of mine. You've seen that he's run most of this conversation, so he knows what he's talking about. He's not just a random player. He has some experience, and I know a lot of my subscribers prefer watching people that have experience. So if you like what I have going on, you're going to like what Ramos has going on. That's just what it is. So shameless plug. Check him out.
Well, I did one as well, so, it's...
Shameless
plug
plugs
buddies.
all around. 5 minutes of shameless plugs.
It actually took about 5 minutes. That was amazing. So anyway, hopefully I'll see you beautiful people in the next video on my channel or the next video on Joe's channel.
Or both.
Probably both. Yay!